Even, many people sometimes, abandon the church because they say it's too strict in this also contraception method and everything. So, because the church say, no, we are for the procreation. So, no matter which one birth control method is used, except the natural one, so they are not accepted. So people on this world, they want to control everything, even how many children they have. They say, oh, this is crazy, I cannot follow, and so on. So even there, if you don't want to have many children, or there is the situation that it's better to not have many children, even the Pope once mentioned, he said, somebody can get offended. He said, but you don't need to have many children like a rabbit. But, okay, so he said the procreation is beautiful and so on, but there is not like a command of the church that be unlimited. Of course, with the years, everybody is growing up with this method, this natural method, because if you know your body, this for the woman, and count the day of the cycle of the woman from menstruation and this and so on, actually working quite well. I mean, this is our personal experience and work quite well. I mean, we have only one trouble when, at certain age our body change, so the cycle also have some little adjustment. So we lost that, and we have a beautiful gift from God, so which I'm very happy actually. But let's say in 22 years was quite good. So I mean, it's working. But even there, there's are books on moral theology about the problem, like you say, the cases of if somebody is a sailor. Okay, there is no sailors here in Alberta. Let's say if somebody is working at Fort McMurray, so far away, when they go 1, 2, 3 weeks, maybe they come back 2 days and have to go again, sometime, the situation of the family, the money, and this go on like 4 years. So the husband go back home and say, oh, this is my day. And wife say, no, this is not the right time. Oh, again. So he come back after the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, and he happy again, say, oh, but this is not the time. Oh. And okay, in moral theology there is the question of less evil. So I don't want to say now you can do some evil thing, so contraception, because there's some contraception that as Catholic we can't never accept, like the pills, because in their way the pills they are made, they just let loose was start to be fecunded in the uterus. So I mean, really, we can accept that. Their discussion of always even about these pills, because they try to create some that avoid even the fecundation, so eventually there is no fecundation, so you didn't kill anything, which is fine. But let's say most of them they are not, so really they are killing. Other method, they are avoiding that some fecundation happen. So saying that these are sin object or against the church, against the truth, against everything, against the commandment of God, the procreation, we need to be a little more I would say careful, pondering, and so on. I mean, people say, no, the church is clear, we are against all contraception way. But in the case I was saying, so you prefer, in the case of this guy from Fort McMurray, that every time say, no, at the very end he will find something there. No, it's better to keep a good relationship to find a way. There is the way of, how do you say in the Bible, disperse the seeds. and say, oh, even this is not good, because in the Bible the guy who were dispersing the seeds was condemned by God. Okay, but that was a special case, because God asked him to have children. It was like what God was moving. He was against his will. So only that story is used for saying that is wrong for everybody, even circumstance where otherwise something worse may happen. You know, what I want to say there is better to have a good spiritual guide, but which also I would like to say is with the mind of God. I mean, the theologian, the moral theology will say the less evil, and they are explained that indeed they are less evil because they keep united the couple and everything. But again, so avoiding those really drastic that they are killing the little babies. So that's, of course, we can never be agree on that. That's so clear. So even on this, I would like to say, you know, need wisdom, understanding, and help. But this one is a very delicate, complicated chapter that anyway need to be discussed with a spiritual guide or somebody who could help you. We were talking on the first part of this talk about sex and faith that there is so many differences between men and women, the way that we are wired, completely different. You know, people that is in science will say even in our DNA there is so many differences. They count like 6,500 difference. Anyway, so I want to mention this because to let you understand how the evil one is cheating us in nowadays, in our society of these days, where everything become the same, and you can change sex if you like, you can become transgender, depend of your aspiration and so on. How could be ever possible that? I mean, I have so many, 6 good friends which are in this situation, you know, and I mean, they call themselves gay, or they don't call themselves, but everybody knows, on somebody more explicitly that is a girl but want to be a man like a woman. So anyway, just to say, these people so are close to me. Some of them actually know since they are young. That helped me to understand something. So I want to say about this, my friend, that even from 1,000 miles, no, don't say 1,000, okay, a mile far away, you may see that she's a girl, and that one is a boy. For the way that they are thinking, for the way that they are acting, the way they are living, no matter what they want to be. And why they want to be something else. Maybe because of the excitement of trying something new, or because of the society is like pushing on this agenda. You can be whatever you want. I found actually one of them let me suffer a lot, because when she's doing this hormones injection, then she need to do every week or 2 weeks, you know, to become a little more man. And she is suffering a lot, but I mean, I don't want to say even destroying her body, but anyway, when I think of this situation, you know, for somebody may sound ridiculous with the mentality of today, but I see how the evil one is joking on us, is mocking on us. At certain point, even to change really what we are, because sexually speaking, how we are wired, I may say, is impossible. So who is tricking us that is possible? Or you can be which sex you want, it doesn't matter. Or so I'm saying, with 6 of them I'm very good friend. Some of them I know even when they're young, the situation. In some case, a mother which was very strong personality, which brought the guy to, I don't want to say hate women, but dislike women. Another guy instead where the personality of the father was so strong, especially sexually speaking, bringing in even prostitute just because the boy is a man. You need to start to show up that he's a man. So even putting more pressure. I mean, really there are trauma, psychological trauma. And in many of these situations have been proved. Actually, there have been some trauma. If you work out those trauma, actually they are happy guys, normal guy as before. Talking about girl and boy the same way in my experience. Of course, no matter what people are saying now and what I was saying like 30 years ago, for me these people have been always friends and they will be always friends. So at the church, Catholic Church say very clear in this, there is always respect for the human being. No matter which direction he's taking, what's happening in his life. Or we talked last time about the Samaritan or the adulterer woman, no matter which sin we are doing or what mess we are doing, we are always children of God, so we are welcome, that we are part of the family. But I mean, there's something even there that need to talk about, because now, like, the politician make the transgender like a banner. See, we are so open, so democratic, so liberal, that you can do whatever you want. Yeah, but doing whatever you want, even at that point, to influence the new generation that think, yeah, maybe I can be another sex, maybe it will be more excited, will be better, even suffering. I don't think that this is helping our societies. I think it's helping to have more and more transgender, that even they are not transgender, they are trying. So, I mean, it's making more mess. That when I say the evil one is cheating us and is mocking at us and laughing at us, making a mess. Because actually, if you have listened the first part of this talk, really we are so different wired. We are so different. Really, what we are is written in our DNA, and really we can't change. I mean, maybe we had some bad experience in our life that really, if we've been helped with that, things can be better for everyone. So it's not just go with the wave, say, okay, let's be completely liberal, do whatever you want. Find excitement where you want. It's not the way. We said, we explained why already. We are not following or living a life only of excitement. Because we are not living like the animal that are living by excitement or instinct. We have also a brain that we are using. So actually, of course, the history of human being is always an up down. There are glorious moments in the history, in the society, where you have a very big brain people that I mean did a lot of good things for the society, helping the society, other human being. And there is moment where maybe we are too rich, too comfortable, that just we live in our laziness and now we're looking for excitement, that doing everything strange, even let's say ridiculous to a point of view. Let's say if you talk of these things like hundreds of years ago to other people, they think, what are you saying about? What are you talking about? Building up a transgender washroom. But anyway. Speaking of this difference in being wired, of course there is another subject that really let people nowadays explode, no? Because it's the parity between men and women. Of course there is a parity between all of us, but this is already New Testament that is written 2000 years ago. We are all the same before God, you know, all children and daughters, sons and daughters of God. Say, You can read in the letter of the apostle, no matter you are Greek, slave, woman, man, whatever, you are all children of God. So there is no problem about that. So about dignity, respect for everyone at the same level. But there is a difference really between man and woman that, as we explained on the first part, is really you can't overpass or overcome so easily. So when everything will be the same, the woman must be like a man. But in which sense? The escalation in this last 100 years of women take the same position, the same place of men, so that means that she's valorized. She's valorized in this way. My point is that actually it's disvalorized, but before ending there, let's understand why. Maybe this can help me, maybe even some foreign language. Because if you see the Chinese language, I was in Taiwan for 12 years, in China, so I know Chinese. If you see the character, look at the character of good, well. What is good, well, for the Chinese? So you see, it's composed by these roots of woman and the roots of child. And when they are put together, they form the character how, which is good, well, fine. That is, a woman have a baby, have a child in his embrace. So when a mom embraces a child, is very good, is the good. Okay? If you see the character of men, until even nowadays, if there is parity between men and women, it's still the same character. So the character of the land, the root of the land, and down the root of the strength. So who is the man? Is the guy whose strength is working the land. And we were saying on the first talk that actually the guy, when do something, focus on one thing, maybe do just one thing, but they do well, no? Instead, the woman, also if you saw the video suggested about Mark Gungor, she's able to multitask somehow, no? We will say she's able to take care of many things at the same time because she's wired in that way, Anyway, so you may say, why in the world, even if it's so far away in a different place like China, no? China has been always so far away, distant from the Western culture, let's say the European culture. We just come in contact with them somehow on the 13th century, but nothing developed from there, not too much. But really, when the door opened was in this, at the end of 1600, yeah, there some things start to open up and so on. So we have grown up, let's say, with the really different culture, language, and so on. But still, we had many things in common until 100 years ago, let's say. The something very good is when a woman have a baby in her embrace. And it is good when a man is working. Even economically speaking, was much better in the past. Okay, let's go little by little because otherwise you will kill me. Because now, okay, with disparity, even women are working, men are working, everybody. Actually, we could say, if only men work, it will not be enough. So it's good that the woman is working too, so we can have two salaries, we can make it. But actually, how things are going, not only two people are working and the salary is still not enough, they are doing still the third job, if there is occasion, some part-time, fourth job. I mean, it's never enough. And in the contrary, we lost our families. We lost our families because nobody's in the family taking care of the children. They are growing up by themselves. I mean, they are not nourished by us, but by the society. We're talking how the society is nourishing us with this story, ideology on transgender, for example. So how they are growing up, and we can see in the faith, because the faith, or you transmit the faith or not. So if you don't transmit, that vacuum is filled up by the wall, what is in the world. So anyway, and I was surprised when I started my youth ministry here in Canada, because when people were coming from confirmation, on the family homework was suggested, since you are preparing yourself for confirmation, let's have at least one dinner or meal with your family once a week. What? For me it was a surprise. How I can have a family dinner with my family? I mean, for us it's normal. Every dinner we have together. Okay, in the past in Italy it was even lunch, because everybody stop like noontime, 1 o'clock, go back home, eat all together, take a nap and go back to work in the afternoon. But okay, I admit that is another culture. But for sure, for dinner, everybody is back from work. No, there is no more this culture, because the important is that making money, and making money you make in shift or many different times. So it seemed that the family never meeting. So for confirmation, they were asking at least have one meal together. Oh, mamma mia! So, with many speculation, many philosophy, many economists, I may dare to say, if you want to build up a new economy, raise up a new economy, we need to go back to the past. Instead of having one person so many jobs, and in a family 2 people have a job, let's think, like if we say only one person in the family, or the husband or the wife, have a job outside with a salary. So let's restructure the economy. So in this sense, you have no more disoccupation. I say usually when we look for a state, a government, we look, okay, how is the disoccupation rate here? And everywhere is so high. But if we will say, let's say, only half of these people will work, well, we can offer like a lot of other jobs to people who are without occupation. So, if you think, you may think that it's impossible, but it's not, because actually we are reaching the limits. The limits, no matter how much we work, the money is never enough, and indeed it is not enough. And we are destroying our family, that they are abandoned to themselves, nobody nourished them. How was good in the past that the woman was at home, embracing the child, nourishing the child, give them instruction, the warmth of the house, even if the husband have such a bad day outside, and you know how is the world, but find the peace and comfort at home. So really the test of life, instead of going back home, everybody's doing its own, everybody's so tired, there is like a desperation. Going back home, you're going more in depression than in joy. So which kind of society we are built up? Once again, I would say the evil one is trying to build up through ideology, for example, being everybody the same, so even women need to work outside. Why? You may think that this is ridiculous nowadays, but why? Think and everybody now there is the fashion of going back to the organic. Because we discover that what is not organic actually is bringing us a lot of healings, they are not healthy. We have too much sugar, too much flour in our diets, which are killing us. We're making us a problem with obesity, and so there is a going back to the organic. I may say, why we don't go organic even in our human life. How was, I mean, this question of the parity between men and women, if you think it's something of only this last, 100 years, no even, maybe 60, 70, maybe 50 in some states. Because now we are the global village, so everybody's trying to copy, no? So let's say for thousands of years, we have been like a man working outside and a wife being in the house to keep that warm, what is needed to nourish a family and to develop and grow up a healthy family. Now this is gone. Now, fortunately, we have in this called our friend of pro-life families, on those beautiful families that we see in the Life Family Conference. Wow, that was like a step in another like reality on earth for me. Seeing how so many family devoted, really closer to the Lord and believing in another way of living. No, yeah, just the man work outside, but the mother is the center of a beautiful life for the family. That is very happy to come back home. To be in the family, because enjoy that moment. It's not a moment of depression like for many families. You go home, nobody home, everybody working, while somebody eating at this time, somebody eating at that time. What? So why we don't go back in the organic way also of family? Let's go back to the organic family instead of this anorganic, full of pesticide family life that is killing our families. Okay, if you stop at the moment, you think, it's not so ridiculous what I'm saying, but nowadays, for how it's going the society, it will be hard to change. Yes, I may say you are right, but we have a shift now in the organic. I was surprised, the first time I came here in Canada, working in Superstore, start to see how many organic stuff, and more they're bringing organic stuff, and more. So more than a fashion is becoming a reality. And people seeing dietists to have going back to the healthy way of living. So because we discovered that we reach a limit. So we said that in the future, even a state can decide, no, only one in the family will go to work and one stay home. Maybe we will raise a little bit the salary, we'll bring down the tax. Maybe they can do something, As I saw in some country happen, all this pollution. So they reduce the cars, say only the cars with odd numbers go in this day, in this day, in this day. So in the other day, if you have no odd number, so you have half of the car on the street. So when you reach the limit, the state, they are imposing something like, let's say, to have a better life. So now you can react, so the woman is counting less. No, it's not counting less, it's counting even more, because it's the center of the healthy family. How can be that? Okay, of course, if a woman really like to work outside and the man stay inside, if it is the case, it's still fine with me. But let's say, is that anyway is very important. After, for how we are wired, I think that the attention, the multitask way of being a woman at home make a home so different that the man is just focusing in one thing. Sometimes you can get lost in another thing. So I mean, really, when you go back, let's say on the first talk, how we are different wired, so you will understand. But actually, I say, because people close to God, actually through the Spirit, and somehow they are living already this reality. We have this family, this some way we are called the pro-life family because they have more children and so, but they choose to live this life, not necessarily follow what is saying the world at this moment, that not necessarily is organic or is it the healthiest things. So for you, maybe it's the first time that you hear something about that, but reflect on that. Because it's not question of different dignity. I was saying, the gospel already said we have the same dignity of children of God. But it's how we are created, how organically different and wired we are for different positions, which make our life much beautiful, healthier, even the society. So even this boom of the disoccupation when it happened is something of this century. So von Hildebrand, Alice Wald Hildebrand, and she's speaking about the privilege of being a woman, because again, for us that we have said the evil one is working all this century to raise up women and say, oh, we must be like men, oh, we must be the same level of men, and this is on, we need to work too, and this is that, I mean, the best thing? Or this kind of ideology just brought us to more poverty in our families, even in our states. And actually, if you go and even online, you can find many videos about this woman, this philosopher. She was giving testimony of how many people also infiltrate our Catholic Church. I mean, they went in the seminar just to be ordained and so on, but were devoted just to bring down the Catholic Church, like with the socialist mentality and so on. So it's like a work of the evil, really, which is entering with yours, going out with his. Okay, this is another chapter, but yes and no, but in the sense how the evil one can work, influence, and destroy our society. If we are lazy and living only on excitement, we don't even realize where it's bringing us and destroying us and mocking at us. Because at the very end, for example, for me, putting this banner of the transgender, where is something really so out of the world, so that destroying the body of people, destroying the family with this story of the parity. There is beautiful testimony. I remember even a testimony of a sister that at the beginning she was for this movement, the feminist movement, but at the very end they say, well, what I'm doing actually. So, but anyway, there is another chapter where to explore, which is worthy. But we are just sometimes falling in the flow. Anyway, I conclude here, but I'm always open, to discussion, debate about this so hot topic. So you can even come and visit me. We can discuss this. So you can write on the comments. I will try to reply on those. But let's say, as a Christian who is living in this world, but is not part of this world because it's oriented to heaven, let's really think in a different way, in a heavenly way. Let's just respond to our call, that is divine call to holiness, which is not something so far away from us. We have so many beautiful examples of holy people around us who have been made saint in this century that we know. We have a video, photo of them. So it's not that far away. Means instead of using only our instinct, excitement, to use also our brain, reflection, and our strength to overcome our bandage. So I invite you to reflect, especially if you are a young couple, or if you are young, you are not married yet, really to consider how you want to live your marriage, how you want to nourish and form your children, and make a new world already here on planet Earth, which can be really a testimony. Talking about this parity between men and women that we have ideologically succeed in this century, if you start to observe some result, you will understand that there's something wrong. For example, even if we had even in the past, let's say, gay people, really there is like a, I don't want to say an explosion of gay people now, but it's getting more common and common. And somehow, even some psychologists, some other, they're saying, oh, because nowadays men is feeling less and less men. I mean, he don't know what to do, how his place in the society. What? Okay, let's understand what they are trying to say, which actually is true. So men that, as we present on the first part, let's say is more simple wired, just good at work, ain't another thing. So, and when he's, let's say, putting the woman, let's say, at the same level or even higher, because for some women mean also to be independent. So I don't need to be dependent on my family or my husband. I can have my money, which sometimes bring, I don't like my family anymore, my husband anymore, so I leave. Anyway, so there is a point that men don't know anymore how to act, how to react. As let's find some example. Maybe this can help, because here in our parish we are more close to Filipino people. So let's take some examples from Philippines, because actually work very well. Because Philippines is, strange to say, is more a matriarchal family, modern patriarchal. So usually the mother has been always more important, the women figure more important than the men. And without taking any offense and any judgment on this, for me, I was surprised, for example, when I spent months of my life there in Philippines, to see that all the Berber, when I was cutting my hair, they were a little effeminate boy. I mean, some gay. I mean, is it just a coincidence, or maybe once again, the strong personality of a woman just put men in another position that really he don't know how to do, is acting as a woman. Of course, now I am speaking in a simple way, but I try to catch the point. For example, one thing that I never heard since before happened with Filipinos. I mean, have you ever seen a woman beating his husband? I saw in the past, even in the movie you see that a woman slap a man because did something wrong, said something wrong. You see, that sometimes is cute, but really somebody beating a woman beating a man. No, I never saw, only in a Filipino family. Okay, you may say maybe it's just a case. No, but let's say in the Filipino family, woman is like the one most of the time in charge, and somehow has changed a little that culture of being. I don't want to say the Filipino men how they are, but certainly are much softer, nicer than other culture, where you can see, for example, if you see Indian, they are quite strong. Or so I just point there as a point of reflection, since we are reflecting on things. So since maybe the women are being exalted at that point, that the men has been like devalorized in some sense, that they really don't, I don't want to say they don't know what to do, they don't know how to take their place, they are acting a little weird. So yeah, all these elements, even from a scientific point of view, so for the analysis that they are doing in this field, I like to read and look video in this direction, they are very interesting. So once again, personally, I prefer to going back to a kind of more organic family life, where the things they were a little more like in the past, which doesn't mean that the woman is less valorized. Instead, have a much bigger value, as I would say Alice von Hildebrand was saying, you know, the privilege actually of being woman, and being the center of the family, and be the center of love, and be the center of the balance. And like Mary is in the church. Actually, she was very obedient, silent, but she brought to us Christ in this humility. And she brought us through her the salvation. And God himself is still sending her on earth to encourage us to reflect and change our life. So, reflect on a new way of being an organic family. Blessing.